Hey, what's going on, people? Troll Pal CHH here. So whenever I do videos on special collector's editions, for instance, this past year, we did a video on box sets. We did a video on collector's releases. And a lot of people are always like, that's cool, I definitely want to pick that up. But you want to know what I hear a lot of? I ain't got the shelf space for it. I'm running out of shelf space. What am I going to do with all this stuff? It's too big. I can't afford the shelf space. And I hear you guys, so I'm trying to do a video that'll be, for you and talk about something. I've got something for you, the people that don't want shelf space sucked up. I just got out the shower, guys, so I apologize about the water spots in my shirt. It's a line called the WARNER Archive, and it's actually a pretty cool line, and they've put out a number of horror titles I wanted to kind of show you guys. And they're very basic, no slipcover releases. They're just Blu-ray releases of movies. And here's an example right here. We'll start, I guess. This is a movie called The Hunger. It's a vampire flick starring who? David Bowie. The great David Bowie. Let's dance. Put on your red shoes and... Great movie. This is a really weird movie. Really kind of one of those weird kind of like sensual kind of movies. But I like it. It's an 80s vampire film that should be in the conversation. Nothing human loves forever. But yeah, I got this because I saw this was on the Warner Archive label. I'd give this movie like a 7 out of 10. I think it's a good film. Bonus features is a commentary by Susan Sarandon and the director Tony Scott, the great Tony Scott. So who doesn't love David Bowie? Who would want to see him play a vampire? So there's that. Next up, this is the best release for this movie at this time. I'm talking about Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Warner Archive Blu-ray. The interesting thing was I remember probably, guys, I'd say like 2 years ago, there was this big scare that Warner Archive was done. Like they were wrapping it up as a company. Because some kind of merger or purchase happened and people were like, oh, that's it, it's done, start buying all of them, they're going out of print. That didn't end up happening. This has the Saw's Family, the making of Leatherface documentary. We all know what to do with them parts, deleted scenes, alternate endings, feature commentary. And I do believe this is the unrated version. Yeah, they give you the unrated version. This is a good release, for a movie that was, thrown to the wayside. How did this end up on Warner? I'm just now realizing that. Wasn't this New Line? Oh, wait, what am I saying? New Line got purchased by Warner Brothers. The hell's wrong with me? But yeah, this is a good Blu-ray. It looks good. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. That came out. You might want to grab that one. Next up is a movie called Night School. I love Night School. Now, Night School, I think it was Pizzow did a review on. Let me read you a little bit about this one. They work day by day, take a full schedule of classes at night, and somehow find time to study for an occasional date. Women in the evening curriculum at Boston's distinguished Wendell College do a lot to get ahead in life. But there's someone who will get to them with even greater lengths, someone who will do anything to get ahead. A killer whose MO is the ritualistic decapitation of victims makes terror a required course at Night School, directed by Kenneth Hughes and starring Rachel Ward. In her screen debut, Leonard Mann plays the homicide lieutenant assigned to the puzzling case. What year did this come out? I wanted to say it was 1980. So kind of right there in the heyday. You know what I mean? And good release. I think they had a DVD version of this too, but I got the Blu-ray version of it, and I like it. I think they even had a DVD version of Killer Party that was Warner Archive, but that now has a Blu-ray from Scream Factory. Killer Party is a fun movie. Night School I liked. I'd give this about a 6 out of 10. All right, this is the one, guys. Pay attention. This is the one. Probably one of the best horror titles they ever put out. The Hidden. That's right. You remember when Adam Marcus started talking about this movie in Crystal Lake Memories or something? Or was it Crystal Lake Memories, or his name was Jason? But I know you remember that. This is the movie. He said he never saw this movie, but The Hidden is like Jason Goes to Hell without the baggage of it being a Friday the 13th film. This is an incredible movie. Kyle MacLachlan's in here. Yeah. Who directed this? Oh, Jack Shoulder, Freddy's Revenge director. This is a legitimately good movie. Really good movie. I love this movie, The Hidden. Great film. This is probably the best film I've talked about so far. 1987. Really good movie, guys. Don't sleep on The Hidden. There's some wacky, nasty, gnarly stuff in that. What's interesting about this line is they definitely have their share of Hammer titles. Here's a couple right here, guys. We got Dracula Has Risen from the Grave and The Horror of Dracula. Now, I absolutely recommend... The thing about this one, Horror of Dracula has that iconic shot of Christopher Lee. I like these movies. These movies are really good. Put these movies on when you're hanging out in the house, cleaning up. You want to get that atmosphere. You want to get that really fun Halloween-type music, that classic music. And I tell you, these Blu-rays actually look really, really good. So, this actually isn't a Warner archive. I just realized that. But I filed it with them. That's weird, right? It's definitely a Warner Brothers Blu-ray. Why is that not a Warner archive? I don't know. I'm just now thinking about that. I feel like it should have been. I mean, this one is Horror of Dracula. But for some reason, Dracula's Risen from the Grave is not. Oh well. Horror Dracula I definitely recommend over Dracula's Risen from the Grave. Horror Dracula is a classic, probably one of Christopher Lee's best. This is a title I not only recommend, but I really recommend. If you're an anthology fan, you're going to meet a lot of familiar faces. You're going to meet Donald Pleasance. You're going to meet the great... who's the guy that almost played Freddy? His name always slips me. Great actor. He was in The Omen. You know who I'm talking about. Great actor. From Beyond the Grave. Look at that artwork, number one. I mean, that's gorgeous. This movie is incredible. This is a 1970s... David Warner is the actor. David Warner. The 1970s... I want to say it's mid-70s. 73. It is a horror anthology. The opening story is really creepy. I liked it so much. Fun fact, they kind of repurposed the artwork for this movie on a movie called Frightmare for a poster. Go look that up. Look up From Beyond the Grave poster and then go type in Frightmare poster and you're going to be like, that's the same thing. How or why that happened, I don't know. But the From Beyond the Grave version is the best. Not because it's the original, but it just is the best. But with that being said, guys, this is a really great horror anthology. Definitely needs to be in your collection, From Beyond the Grave. Love that one. I really like this line of movies. Next up, guys, I want to talk about... This is a sleeper hit, okay? Are you a fan of werewolf films? Are you a fan of The Howling? Are you a fan of American Werewolf in London? Are you a fan of Silver Bullet? If you are, this is the other member to that 80s family. Lest I leave out Company of Wolves as well, which I love. I'm talking about Wolfen. Archive Collection. Wolfen is the most interesting of the werewolf bunch from the 80s because I don't want to spoil this movie, but this one really is less emphasis on wolf and less emphasis on were, which does not make this film any bad. If anything, this is a very unique 80s werewolf film. I really like Wolfen. It's a really great story. I enjoyed this one a lot. It's different from the rest. This is a good release. I would love a 4K of Wolfen. I actually really hope that happens one day because I think this is a sleeper. I've always been a fan of Wolfen, and the truth is I give credit to In Search of Darkness. And I'm actually going to do a video about that documentary. I just got my Blu-ray set in for that those documentaries. That documentary actually helped me find a lot of movies and really gave me the bump to want to check out some of these movies because they showed clips from them. Wolfen's great. Let's see what special features are on Wolfen. There may not be any. The thing I liked about this line is they were always budget-friendly prices because they're just regular Blu-ray releases. I just wanted to give an example of something non-horror that they have. Showdown in Little Tokyo. Quite frankly, I don't have a lot of non-horror Warner Archive to begin with, but I want to show they had some really great action. Showdown in Little Tokyo. Brandon Lee and the great Dolph Lundgren. Great action flick. I love that. Again, this is another great Hammer title. I want to talk about The Curse of Frankenstein. And look at that artwork. 2-disc special edition. This is a great movie. You guys, if you're not into Hammer, give yourself a few years. It took me a while. I had to get older to be able to have the desire to want to go back and watch some of these films. And they're very comforting. They really are. They're movies you can put on and just sip a nice tea or, get yourself a coffee and just relax. They're those kinds of movies. You gotta want to chill out. You gotta want to really relax when you watch those movies. But I do like me some Hammer now. I want to talk about one of my favorite old movies. I want to talk about Howard Hawks' production. I want to talk about The Thing from Another World. I hear all my friends sometimes call it The Thing from Outer Space. And I'm not hating, but I'm just like, it's The Thing from Another World. This is a really good movie. Now, obviously, John Carpenter's he remade this. But I think The Thing from Another World is much different, and it's a great counterpart because you can really watch this one and get a totally different experience. This one actually has women in it, which is a breath of fresh air compared to the original. And there's a great scene where they open the door and the Thing swings at one of the guys. They light it on fire, and it's so intense. You'll be surprised watching some of these movies, but this is a good release. It's a good-looking Blu-ray. So, I want to talk about one of the most coolest movies ever that nobody talks about. I want to talk about Innocent Blood from the director of American Werewolf in London, which is obviously John Landis. Let me read to you about this movie. This is 1992, by the way, so I think I've got your attention with that year, because you're like, ooh, that sounds like a interesting time. This ghoul just wants to have some fun. She also wants an occasional bad guy to sink her fangs into because she never ever takes innocent blood. Annie Pillard is Marie, a vampire who imperils Pittsburgh when she fails to kill off one of her victims, mob bosses Sal Maselli. Sal realizes what a lucky stiff he is, a vampire with deadly powers. If Marie and her undercover cop boyfriend can't stop the mobster's new family of goons, Pittsburgh will be in the pits. As in his American Werewolf in London, director John Landis saw in Michael Walk's script many possibilities to be outrageous and transform them into an outrageous screen reality. Super fun vampire flick, guys. I love Innocent Blood. So great. I never heard of this movie until I just saw it online, and I just Googled it. And I was like, oh my God, the time frame of that sounds incredible. So, cannot recommend this one enough. Definitely get your hands on Innocent Blood. I love that. And last but not least, this is one of my favorite titles, if not my favorite title I've ever gotten from Warner Archive. I want to talk about a television movie from the early 70s, 1973. This movie gives me the willies. It's kind of creepy. It's really well done, and kind of shows that like television movies in the 70s were a force. They had some really good ones. I want to talk about Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. I want to talk about this. Is that a face on the... Holy crap. I'm just now noticing that. That's a face. You see the eye? I've never noticed... Oh my God. I've never noticed that. Wow. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark is a great television movie. An old house, a mysterious locked room, a terrifying secret. Elements that make a horror movie memorably chilling get a taut, spooky reworking in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Kim Darby and Jim Hutton star as Sally and Alex, young married to inherit a crumbling mansion. Despite warnings to leave well enough alone in the new home, Sally unlocks the mysterious room, opens up a bricked fireplace, and unleashes a horde of hideous, whispering murder mini-demons only she can see and hear. This is the original TV movie that inspired the 2010 theatrical movie starring Katie Holmes and Guy Pearce. I've seen that movie. This is so much better. This is actually kind of creepy. I mean, really. Look at those things down there. I love Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. This is one of my favorite titles from the 1970s. I think this is a great title. I think it's a great way for you to jump into the Warner Archive collection. So, guys, with the exception of Showdown Little Tokyo, this is my horror Warner Archive collection. I think it's a good line. And excuse me, that is not a Warner Archive collection. I just assumed it was. And I file it with it because it's everything. It's the exact same kind of release. For some reason, it's just not Warner Archive. I don't know why. But as you can see, there's actually some damn good titles in the Warner Archive line. So I wanted to go through my collection and kind of tell you what they entail. And as a matter of fact, I like all of my Warner Archive releases. I've enjoyed every title that I've gotten from the line. I really like The Hunger. I really like The Hidden and Night School. I really like Wolfen from Beyond the Grave. The Curse of Frankenstein is great. I love Innocent Blood. I love Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. I think it's a good line. I think it's good for your shelf space, which is what a lot of people are concerned about. And I get it. It's something you have to be concerned about. So if you're wanting to get into a new line of collecting and you haven't really dove into much, I think the Warner Archive line is a good line for you to jump into. So with that being said, guys, if you have any questions on Warner Archive, if there's any other titles you'd actually recommend I pick up that I don't have, please drop it below. Obviously, there's some more probably Hammer ones that I haven't picked up, but I like the line. I think it's a good line, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is your old pal CHH, guys. I appreciate you watching this, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Huge, giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind-the-scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.